Good day, good morning. Welcome to the weekly warm-up, the Hodlnots Weekly Warm-Up, as we start off the week with the latest in the crypto headlines. My name is John,
I'm Vicky.
and welcome to the news at 9 a.m. UTC, where it's currently 5 in the morning in Brazil. Fantastic. Let's get into some of the crypto headlines that have been making headlines in the last few days.
Yes, and Bitcoin climbed to 1.7% of global money before the Fed chair signaled a rate cut. So that's helped a little bit. So Bitcoin accounts for an ever greater share of the global money as central banks continue to print currency and reduce purchasing power. Bitcoin grew to account for about 1.7 of the global money, a figure that includes aggregate M2 money supply data for all major fiat currencies, the larger minor currencies, and gold's market cap, according to River, a Bitcoin financial services company. So the data assumes that Bitcoin has a market capitalization of 2.4 trillion, which it did top earlier in August. However, Bitcoin's current market cap is approximately 2.27 trillion, and I see it's probably a little bit less at the moment because it's going down, which brings its total share of global money down to about 1.66 instead of that 1.7. And the Bitcoin price action enjoys, in good news though, the CME gap is above, so providing a new short-term target, which, cross our fingers, happens.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah. So a little bit of a mixed bag and some news, some good news, some bad news. But yeah, we're going to be having a look at the Bitcoin chart shortly, as well as the dominance chart. But let's move on to a little bit more Bitcoin news. It'll be mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum for a little while. So one of the OGs, one of our favorites is back, and that's Willy Woo, one of the original, well, say gangster on this call, but yeah, the OGs, the old goats really of Bitcoin analysis, and saying that a lot of the OG whales, all right, the original whales of Bitcoin, the ones that are early adopters, are to blame for Bitcoin's painful rise. Also a little bit of a drop recently. Bitcoin suddenly dropped over 2% in under 10 minutes yesterday, Sunday, with crypto investors on X pointing to the actions of one very large Bitcoin holder. Bitcoin's oldest whales may be to blame for Bitcoin's slow price action in the cycle as well, according to Bitcoiner Willy Woo, pointing out that it takes more than $110,000 of fresh capital to absorb every Bitcoin they sell. Bitcoin supply, and these are his words, Bitcoin supply is concentrated around OG whales who peaked their holdings in 2011. Wu said in a post on X on Sunday, they bought their Bitcoin at $10 or less. So this differential in cost basis, the supply they hold, and their rate of selling has profound impacts on how much new capital is needed to come in to lift that price. So think about that, ladies and gents, where you get people who are holding 24,000, 10,000, 5,000, whatever it is, Bitcoin, and they're selling. How much fresh capital is needed to come in just to kind of offset that? So just bear that in mind as we go forward. But switching to Ethereum, Vicky.
Yeah, I wonder if Bitcoin is losing its shine a little bit. Probably not. But the institutional Ethereum treasuries are topping 17.6 billion as 69 entities amass 4.1 million Ethereum. So the Ethereum treasury holdings have crossed 4.1 million Ethereum, worth about 17.6 billion, as I said, spread across 69 companies now. So BitMine Immersion Technologies is the largest holder, controlling roughly 1.5 million Ethereum, and that's valued at 6.6 billion. So the company has abandoned Bitcoin mining to focus entirely on Ether accumulation. And as I mentioned before, and John just mentioned as well, so Bitcoin whales are swapping Bitcoin for Ethereum as traders sees Ethereum at 5.5 thousand next. So not sure what the price is just now, but they're predicting 5.5 thousand. So Bitcoin whales are adding to their Ethereum exposure as attention flips from Bitcoin to Ethereum on the back of the new all-time highs for the largest altcoin. So watch the watch the Ethereum space carefully.
That ether space for sure. Well, Ethereum currently
Mm,
sitting at $4,587
there you
and
go.
70 cents. But staying on with Ethereum, and this will be the theme because we've seen Ethereum break its all-time high. Just when was it? Yesterday. Yes. So fantastic news. And we'll continue to see those new all-time highs broken, not just for Ethereum, but there is concern that after this rally, we could see a downtrend for Ethereum as history suggests for the month of September. So, since 2016, whenever Ethereum's price has gone up in August, it has historically fallen in September. All right, so if August you see a pump, September you see a dump. Ether's price has climbed more than 25% since the beginning of August, but historical data suggests that this cryptocurrency, the largest altcoin, could lose steam in September. However, we could, having a look at these three instances since 2016, since Ether has been around, where Ether posted gains in August, and each was followed by a September decline. All right, so these are the three instances in this situation. 2017, Ether surged 92.86% in August before dropping 21.65. This repeated again in 2020 with a 25% gain in August, followed by a 17% pullback in September, and again in 2021 when it climbed 35% before slipping down 12.55%. So we are looking at more than a 25% gain so far. Are we going to see a similar pullback in September? Interesting. Those two losses or those retracements in September of 2016 and 2020, even though there were losses, Ethereum posted upside in each of the following 3 months in both those years. So we often see a bit of a push towards the last quarter of the year. We may well see, again, a break in the anomaly, break in that paradigm. Things have shifted. But be aware that even if there is a drop in September for Ethereum, we might well see a nice pushback right up top again into the fourth quarter. Over to you.
That would be wonderful. And another thing that is actually wonderful for a huge population in the world is China. So China, kind of in a turnaround, is eyeing yuan-backed stablecoins in a global push to change dollar dominance. So following the Genius Act, which we talked about on the HODLNOTS Happy Hour Hangout 2 times ago, I think, in the US, the adoption of stablecoins is continuing. So not only is the use of stablecoins becoming more widespread, for example, I think we talked about Volkswagen in Singapore. You're able to buy a car now with crypto. So countries are also increasingly looking to explore ways to offer stable coins in their own currency. So China enters the arena, let's say, and is reportedly also entering the stablecoin arena by working towards legalizing usage of yuan-backed stablecoins. In a major policy shift, China's cabinet, the State Council, is working on a roadmap for enhancing global currency use in an effort to catch up with the advancements on stablecoins. So it was interesting that China has changed its view on this, or did they? Was this the plan all along? We'll only see.
Yeah, we've had conflicting issues or
Mm.
stories in the past around China, but it is bullish for the crypto space if that happens. But there's always going to be some sort of, it's not the Cold War, it's the crypto war, isn't it, around stable coins. We know President Trump stance around stable coins, making sure that the dollar always has validity. But if the Chinese get involved, we'll see some interesting new shifts. Now, speaking about shifts, we know a lot of companies, Forbes 500 companies, and a lot of them are starting to add Bitcoin or Ethereum even to their balance sheets, right? But are struggling corporate firms using crypto reserves as a PR lifeline? So, corporate Bitcoin treasuries nearly doubled in the first half of 2025, but analysts warn that some firms may be using crypto reserves as a short-term PR boost. Now, we know the long-term benefits of holding Bitcoin and other such tokens, in terms of global adoption, but these companies might be just doing it as a PR stint for the short term. So corporate adoption of crypto and treasury management is growing rapidly. In this first half, the tally of public companies holding Bitcoin nearly doubled, according to a report from K33 Research. K33 revealed that between December of last year and June of this year, the number of listed firms with Bitcoin on their balance sheets climbed from 70 to 134, amassing a total of 244,991 Bitcoin. This trend is drawing comparisons to earlier waves of corporate gold adoption. There are clear parallels, particularly around providing a means for investors to access an underlying asset which they may have previously struggled to access, says Mike Foy, the Chief Financial Officer of Amina Bank. Now, in this article, it goes on to talk about how we did see that with gold. They started adding gold as part of their balance sheets, and they were diversifying the assets. And now we're starting to see a lot more. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot when you talk about 70 to 134 of these corporate entities, but we know that globally, more and more people are realizing that Bitcoin is the way of the future. They're starting to emulate what BlackRock, Metaplanet, Strategy, etc. are doing. And I think that this might not be a short-term PR stint for all, but I think a lot of people are looking to adopt that for the longer term. Vicky, over to you.
Yeah, I actually agree with that too, but not everyone is doing that. There are some, I think, short-term PR stints, and this one allegedly is next. So Kanye West is in the news because his YZY token hits 3 billion in minutes before insider sale fears trigger pullback. So this is yet another story of a celebrity meme coin being hyped up, launched, and then completely collapsing overnight, almost overnight. Though this fell off in a matter of minutes, so it didn't even take overnight. It just launched sky high and then down. So cautionary tale, HODLnots know not to trade these or trade them very cautiously. But this time, our protagonist is Kanye West, now legally Ye, I think, and his YZY token, which exploded on the Solana network blockchain after surging to US 3 billion market cap within 40 minutes before plunging back to about 1 billion, which isn't still not bad. But the collapse followed mounting allegations of insider manipulation, casting doubts on what West called a new economy built on chain. So look, trade them when you see them, but don't hold on to them. We always say do not marry coins because of this.
Absolutely. Easy,
Mm,
a little sleazy. But as it's
yeah.
been said on X as well,
Mm.
when these kind of launches seem too good to be true, they generally are. So there are rumors of another well-known footballer launching a similar token. All right, we know what to do. We don't trade those. All right. It's very difficult to get in quickly, and before you know it, rugs are pulled. Anyway, moving on from the crypto headlines, we're going to get into some of the regular features on the episode. And that little chart to that side of Vicky, there we go, is what we're going to be talking about, having a quick look at Bitcoin currently, Bitcoin dominance for the week.
Yes, before we do the Bitcoin dominance, the fear and greed index, which is above my head there, has fallen to 47-ish. It depends on which website you're on, but last week it was 60, this week it's 47, which is really neutral. So this is neutral territory. It's not fear, it's not greed. So it appears that everyone is actually just really waiting to see what the market's going to do after that high rise of all-time highs and then the pullback. So we're waiting to see what it's going to do as well.
Absolutely. Well,
Mm.
there are a number of coins that are running at the moment, and one of them is not Bitcoin. So we're going to have a quick look at the current state of affairs as we look at the daily charts for Bitcoin right here. So let's get into it. So we know about the little bit of a sell-off yesterday as well. Thank you very much, Mr. OG Whale. I think you dumped 24,000 odd Bitcoin with $1.7 billion worth. Good for you. Well then. But currently just looking at a couple of things. We know that for some of you this may seem a little confusing. So we're going to simplify it very quickly and we're just going to have a quick look at And just like that. There we go. All right. So we know that there is a bit of a support zone for Bitcoin in and around there. I have an alert set for if it does drop down below that low point of yesterday, because we might start to see a little bit more regression, a little bit more of a retrace for Bitcoin. We're hoping that the sailors, the strategies, and everybody are starting to buy up more Bitcoin, and we'll see a little bit of trend reversal. But at the moment, things are looking a little sketchy. So just a warning that if this trend continues and the next day candle does close down below yesterday's price and at least today's price, I think we're going to be seeing maybe a revisit to maybe around here, who knows, 105 thereabouts before we see a little bit of a bounce back. So we are looking at a little bit of choppy water ahead. But again, if you don't know what all these charts mean, there is a really simple indicator that you can use. Not simple in the bad way, but a really good, easy enough to understand strategy. Yeah, neon green hodl fire. That is it. But have a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance. If we have a look at a few things, it is still going down, and this is fantastic. We would obviously love to see this beautiful cascade. It did break over towards the end of last week. We did see it break down below that 60%, and it's managed to continue downwards as as Bitcoin is the focus at the moment, along with Ethereum. We are going to see a little bit of investors, a lot more money flowing into that at the moment to see Bitcoin turn around before it flows back into the altcoins. So what we're hoping for is we don't mind a little bit of stabilization, a little bit of sideways action over the next day or so. But ultimately, once Bitcoin recovers and it goes sideways and it's okay, we'd love to see that Bitcoin dominance drop again and money will start flowing into the alts, and we're going to start to see a lot more of these really pick up. But I mean, there's still some action going on in the charts, plenty of opportunities to scalp trade, even hodl fire trade, as Bitcoin, fingers crossed, starts to bounce back and turn around. So, yeah, time will tell, but keep an eye on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Keep an eye on what Bitcoin is doing for the rest of the week. Now, speaking about the rest of the
Yeah.
week.
Correct. And HODLnots are keeping a watch on what Bitcoin dominance is doing because we want to scalp. And to help us scalp are the lodge calls. So the lodge is our permanent training room and busy this week. In fact, busier this week than normal. So it starts tomorrow with Wendy's normal lodge training trading call at 8 a.m. UTC. And that's where our members can jump on and ask questions they have regarding scalping and longer term trading foundational elements. And then this week continues on Tuesday with the first of our 2 weekly calls for the people that are doing the self-paced course. So there are some people on the call today that are doing that. So we will see you on Tuesday or Thursday, depending. And this is actually a busier week than normal because we see the return of our ask sessions in the lodge. So the ask is additional scalping knowledge, which actually really have to change the name because it's really now going to be additional foundational knowledge, I suppose. But that is at 12 p.m. UTC, and the link will be in the lodge for all those people in the lodge. And this week we're going to be doing scalping versus longer term trading versus hodl firing because there's a little bit of confusion about what to look for on what type of trading. So we're going to address that in that call. So please, if you're in the lodge, jump on 12 p.m. UTC. And then the week continues on Wednesday with the first of our HODL dot calls for the people in the 3M challenge, and that is at 8 p.m. UTC. And it's immediately followed by this week's HODL Fire call. So everyone that has a HODL Fire subscription can jump on there at 9 p.m. UTC. So it is a busy week. And that continues on the second of our HODL dot calls on Thursday at 8 a.m. UTC this time. And then also on Thursday, we have the second of our self-paced calls at 12 p.m. UTC. So this week, busy as usual.
Absolutely. Lots going on. And just close off just one last little headline, and that's just congratulates Marcus Hansen, for becoming the very next black bear within our 3M challenge, having traded $20 or $40 up to $2,500 with a 6,000% increase.
Huge.
Congratulations, Marcus. All the congratulations going on around in our HODLNOTS Lodge. Superb work. We love what you've done. Now, speaking about love, we've got one last little feature, and we're hoping that people might be in it to win it. We've had 3 letters so far in Guess the Word. basically through a bit of pantomime. Yes, we've had that first one, which was a huh. We had an Egyptian type letter. All right. We had that. Okay, cool. So we've had three. Anybody want to take a guess what the word is? Because we've got one more letter coming to you. All right. Anyone? All right. You want to give it a go? Oh, is that it?
No,
Oh, I
that's
was
not it.
like,
No. No one wants to give it a go. So the last letter, no, maybe the last letter or not, because we don't know how long the word is. Oh, there has been a okay, there has been a guess, and it is not that. So there has been a guess or two.
yeah, that
It's
is
not that.
not another. That's not the other rounded vowel. All right, so just bear that in mind. All right, all right. So what
Okay,
is
so
one
we've
of the next
had
letters? Random order.
we've this is the next letter.
What?
Looks a little bit similar to the first letter.
It does look a little familiar. All right. All right. So
Mm.
we've got four letters now in random order, but we might. Is that the word? Are there going to be more? All right. It's not that. That's not a letter either. All right. Fantastic. Ladies and gents, thanks for joining us. And let's see if there are any guesses. Quickly, we'll give you 5 seconds. But otherwise, have a great week. Lots lined up. We'll catch you guys next week, Monday, for the Hodlnots Weekly Warm-Up, where we bring to you all the crypto headlines and insights around what's happening around Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, and everything else. Keep an eye there. There are opportunities abound to scalp trade. Market's a little iffy. Hoping, fingers crossed, Bitcoin recovers and we don't see this downward action. But until then, we'll catch you next week. Ciao, ciao.